Good evening and welcome everyone to an info session for New Mexico Military Institute. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Chris Ward, the Director of Domestic Admissions here at NMMI located in Roswell, New Mexico. We're excited to have everybody on tonight. We look forward to providing some information, answering a bunch of questions that you all may have regarding spring admission of 21 to NMMI, as well as the fall. We're still taking apps for both of those. We'll provide some info about that process here later on tonight. Before we get rolling, I do want to give a welcome and let them introduce themselves. We've got three wonderful people on this event tonight, first of which is Lieutenant Colonel Christina Stark, who's the Director of International Affairs.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
We've got Cadet Colonel Jose Reynoso, who is the regimental commander.
Good evening, everybody.
And we've got Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Aaron Wolf, who is the first squadron commander.
Good evening, everybody.
Our goal for tonight is, we want you all to be engaged. Again, ask plenty of questions. There's a couple of different ways that you can do that. The first is by tweeting out hashtag NMMI questions. You can put a question directly into the YouTube chat, or you can snap out to NMMI Life. But again, we're looking forward to answering a bunch of your questions. We're going to run through a little bit of stuff here with the cadets, with Lieutenant Colonel Stark, kind of let them provide some perspective and some insight on everything that goes on at NMMI. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Cadet Wolf, a couple of things for you. How did you hear about NMMI and why did you choose NMMI? And then to precede that, let everybody know kind of where you're from and how long you've been here also.
Good evening. So as he said, my name is Aaron Wolf. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I heard about NMMI through family friends. She's alumni, and I wanted to come here for a better school experience, better education, and for discipline, which is definitely something you don't get in public school.
And Cadet Reynoso, what about you, sir?
Well, first of all, good evening. I'm Cadet Colonel Jose Miguel Reynoso Mazoy. I'm the regimental commander for the New Mexico Military Institute. I am from San Andres Cholula, Puebla, in Mexico. I first heard about the school through my brother. He came here a while ago. He didn't last as long as I have. However, my father was the one that saw how the school worked, and he thought that this would be a great place for me to grow. And so far, he has been correct. I have grown a lot, and I really like the discipline and the lifestyle that we have and that we carry out here at NMMI.
Okay, and I'm going to throw one right back at you, Cadet Reynoso. You and both Cadet Wolf have been here for more than a couple of years, graduating from the high school, and now you guys are both junior college cadets, both getting ready to graduate. In your opinion, what is the biggest advantage of being a cadet here at NMMI?
Well, the biggest advantage is definitely the opportunity to grow by yourself. This is a hands-on experience that you have to grow as a leader, as a person, and that everything relies just on yourself. It doesn't really rely on all the people around you. You can grow by yourself here, and you can become a more mature person. So I think that's the biggest advantage and the biggest thing that any cadet can achieve here, and I think I have achieved that.
And then Cadet Wolf, what about you? What's your perspective on the biggest advantage of being a cadet at NMMI?
I would say that the biggest advantage is the influence that you get from other people. I've met people from various cultures and gotten acquainted with them, and you just learn so much about yourself, learning about others and talking to them and seeing their cultures and their leadership styles.
Okay, and then for those of us or everybody who's watching, they might not understand, how you become cadet colonel or cadet lieutenant colonel and what that entails. So, Cadet Reynoso, can you explain what your current leadership role is and maybe how you rank up as a cadet at NMMI?
Well, my current leadership role is the regimental commander. That means I am the highest ranking cadet at the school. I'm in charge of whatever the core cadet does or fails to do. The way you rank up through the core is by showing up and showing that you can be a leader, and showing that you can grow, and showing that you can influence others for them to do the same. If you want the school to be a better place and to grow as a leader and help others grow, then that is how you rank up, and that's how you get the opportunity to have more hands-on experience to be a leader with a growing number of people.
Okay, and then Cadet Wolf, you being the first squadron commander, can you talk about your leadership responsibilities in that position, and also how many cadets? You know, we know that Cadet Reynoso oversees the entire Corps, but as the first squadron commander, how many cadets do you have to manage on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
Yes, sir. So I'm directly under Colonel Reynoso. So I oversee about a third of the school right now, or roughly 250 cadets. Similar to Reynoso, I oversee these cadets, and I am in charge of what they do or fail to do. And I'm just here for their well-being and their leadership development. But I do directly report to Cadet Reynoso.
And staying on the leadership topic, Cadet Wolf, talk a little bit about some of the challenges you face as a leader.
I think the biggest challenges as a leader is the diversity. So many people come from different backgrounds and are used to certain things at home. Maybe the lack of leadership, they're just not familiar with it or disciplined because they're used to having those things done by their parents or family members. They're not used to doing it independently. So we have to get them accustomed to it and kind of hold their hand through the process. And just the diversity of it sometimes can be a real challenge because people will come in really hard-headed and others will come with a lighter tone. So just getting everybody on the same page and doing the same thing at the same time.
And Cadet Reynoso, kind of along the same line, talk about how your experiences with leaders throughout the time that you've been here have maybe molded the way you approach leadership now as a regimental commander.
Yes, well, my answer is going to be very similar to Cadet Wolf's. So again, the diversity and the different backgrounds that people come from, people are normally used to hanging around people that are like them. And if they come here, they come into a big pot where they have people that are like everybody. So you have to find different ways to deal with people and to talk to them, to get to know them, and to help them grow. And that has been probably the thing that I like the most about being a leader here at NMMI is that we have grown and have seen people grow to becoming better leaders by seeing how they deal with other people, depending on their background, depending on their background, on their attitude, and on their emotions, and how everything goes around it. So that's helped us mold as leaders.
And Cadet Wolf, if you can put it into words, can you kind of explain maybe how the mindset of your parents has changed with regards to the impact they've seen that NMMI had on you during your time here? Think about when you started, when you were a recruit at training, and then now. I mean, if you've had conversations with your parents, you know, how has Aaron Wolf evolved throughout these years?
I think in their eyes, it was more, I came wanting the military aspect of it, and it was just that. But through the years, I've evolved in the sense that I'm a more well-rounded person and I know how to communicate with others. I've become more extroverted and enjoy being around people and influencing others and definitely helping others and helping them grow and watching them grow instead of being in the shell that I was, because I was very much an introvert before I came to NMMI.
And Cadet Reynoso, what about you in that same aspect?
Well, I think my parents have told me that I've become more assertive since I came here at NMMI. I was in a similar situation to Cadet Wolf. I was introverted. I didn't go out much, and now every time I go back home, I want to go out. I want to have new experiences. I want to meet new people so that I can use those experiences back here and become a better leader. And so yes, I've become more assertive and more extroverted and more open to possibilities and to people and to meet them and to see their experiences and to understand how the world around me is.
Well, we're going to kind of flip the script here. We're going to take a quick second and we're going to hear from a parent of a current cadet and their thought on the impact that NMMI, had before and then once their cadet got here to NMMI.
New Mexico Military Institute is just really great at developing the whole person, socially, academically. He just has had experiences here that he wouldn't get anywhere else. The athletics are amazing. We happened to be on post when my student was in the 3rd grade, and we came on campus and he looked around and said, "This is where I'm coming to school." And he just never wavered from that decision. We would just recommend the Institute to any family.
With that being said, I know we've touched on it a little bit, but we also want to take a quick peek and look at all of the leadership opportunities. That's a big piece, a big pillar of who we are, what we do, and why we strive day in and day out to have kids here in the Corps of Cadets, because leadership is a hands-on thing. So let's take a real quick peek at the leadership opportunities. All right, so we're going to transition. We're going to talk a little bit about the academic piece. Before we get into peppering these cadets with a couple more questions, we did have a couple of questions come in, and I think the cadets can elaborate on this a little bit. One of them is, how is the classroom structured or education taught during COVID? Before I turn it over to the cadets, I think the big thing to point out here is we do have a hybrid model. I would say 75–80% of our classes are taught in the classroom with an in-person instructor. With that being said, we have had to juggle a couple of things, so there is a little bit of an online piece. The cadets live it, they breathe it every day. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Cadet Reynoso a little bit to kind of talk about the impact this year and the change that he's seen. And then we'll let Cadet Wolf follow up, piggyback in behind that with her perception on that.
Yeah, so the classes have reduced in size. I'm currently I'm doing pre-engineering as my associates, so I don't have that many people involved in my classes, regardless. However, the classes have reduced in size. There cannot be any class with more than 10 people unless it's a lab for like chemistry or biology or something like that. But yes, I mean, I'm not too experienced in that regard, since my my associates already doesn't have that many people included in it.
I'm in quite a few general education courses right now. So what they've done as far as hybrid is split the class in half to about 10 or 8 cadets. So we'll go half the week and the other half will go. So for example, a group of us will go on Monday and the other group go on Wednesday, and then we'll be fully online on Friday. Some teachers do it differently, but they do cut class size so that we're no more than 10 people per room, depending on the classroom size.
Another quick question that came in is it's about cadet rank. And with transfer students, can they bring rank in with them? All new cadets start out as recruits at training, are called RATs. They are considered that for an entire semester, and then that new group of recruits at training will turn all at one time. The hope is always that they do it right at the end or right at the start, the end of the first semester, start of the second semester. But they turn them as a unit. It's not done individually. As soon as they turn, they have the ability to gain and acquire rank. Another quick question that came in, and then we'll roll deeper into academics. Are new cadets allowed to bring a laptop? They are allowed to bring a laptop, but every cadet is issued a laptop when they get here. They get to keep it throughout the school year. When they leave for the summer, it is turned back in. It's sent off, it's refurbished, and then when they come back for that next semester, they are issued a laptop again. Cadet Wolf, can you talk, and I know we touched on it just a little bit, talk about your course load, and again, think about the high school piece, how many classes you had as a high school student, and then the course load now that you're in college, and maybe talk about the typical class size that cadets can expect to see when they're here, when they're in high school and college.
As a high schooler, I took about 6 classes a day. This was when we had 7 periods for high schoolers. Now there's 8, so they have the option to take up to 8. So there was still a few free periods, and not every class is offered all every day of the week. Some of them are offered Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, depending on the classes that the cadets taking. And high school cadets, once they achieve a certain GPA after their first semester, are able to take college credits as well if they so choose. As far as college, you can take up to 21 credit hours. I've never gone past 18. Right now I'm in about 14 credits, which is roughly 5 classes, depending on your lab sciences, and every major is different. As far as class sizes, right now because of COVID, they don't exceed 10 cadets per classroom, but during normal time, it can go up to about 15, maybe 18.
Okay, and then Cadet Reynoso, real quick, Cadet Wolf did a good job covering that. So, you being the regimental commander, can you explain in a little more detail the turning process for RATs? The recruits at training they got here in August. What is the plan? When can we expect them to have the opportunity to turn with finals week coming up next week?
Yes, of course. So rats come in here. The fall rats came here in August, and then they had a period of a week called Rat Week, and that is an intensive week of training so that they can get back into get into NMMI and be trained as to have the basics. Then they have a 21-day ceremony, which is their first big milestone. During any other year, we would have parents involved and parents invited so that they can see their kids and how they've grown and how they've been getting to know their troops and how they feel at NMMI. And then after that, we have the 42-day ceremony, which is when they turn into new cadets and they stop being rats. There's not much difference. However, that is a parents' weekend, which is also a big weekend for the parents to come in and look at their kids and see how they've grown and the rats how they've grown. And then at the end of the semester, they have a chance to turn and become privates or yearlings at NMMI. And that process is done after an entire semester. The cadre decides whether the rat class has done enough to turn and have done their duties to turn. They also have to have a certain GPA and a certain deployment grade as a whole class. This semester, sadly, the rats will not be able to turn because there's also a big event called the Bronco Challenge. And the Bronco Challenge is one last big day challenge that is almost like those things that you see in the movies where people are yelling and everything. But it's really a motivational day for them to have that challenge and to act as a team. This year, due to COVID, we will not be able to do it. So we'll try to do it next semester, and that will be their chance to turn. If it had been any other year, they could have had just any other chances, and it's normally they get their chance to turn into privates 2 weeks before finals start.
And then Cadet Wolf, can you talk a little bit about the faculty here at NMMI? how engaged they are, office hours, what their availability is to each and every cadet?
The faculty here are engaged like no other school I've been in. They come in extra early, typically about 7. Some come in about a little bit earlier than 7 in the morning and stay at least until about 4 in the afternoon to allow cadets to go in for tutoring before classes. Classes start at 7:35, so it gives them about half an hour with their teacher if they want to, or if it's mandated for some. A lot of the faculty have office hours where they open them for cadets so that cadets can come in and get tutoring or just talk about something that they had an issue with. And every faculty is pretty much very engaged and very into their cadets and making sure that their well-being is okay. So if a cadet just wanted to talk, even they are always welcome to do so. Yeah, majority of our faculty are just awesome. They're amazing people.
You know, and with that being said, let's take a quick second, and we've got a little short video clip here for you to look at what the inside of a classroom actually looks like. I know the cadets have talked about class size. I think once we're done with this video, you'll be able to see, you know, we can't fit 30 cadets in a classroom. We're just not set up to do that even if we wanted to. So we're going to take a quick look at that and let you guys see what you think. All right, before we slide into this next segment, I'm going to answer a couple of questions. Again, I want to thank you all. That is the purpose of this, so please keep the questions coming. This first question is about the Waterhouse Scholarship. It is available for our 2 students from Hawaii and the Pacific Islands. Before I go into a little detail about that, when students apply to come to school at NMMI, a piece of the application answers a bunch of questions regarding scholarship criteria. The only scholarship you actually physically have to apply for is the legislative scholarship, which is only open to students from the state of New Mexico. You have to be New Mexico residents. Everything else is on the application. As you fill it out, it's going to flag you for specific scholarships based on criteria. The Waterhouse is much the same. Every year we get a pocket of money from the Waterhouse Foundation based out of Hawaii, and then we can use that to give out $6,000 scholarships. It kind of rolls year to year. Typically we're looking at 20 $6,000 scholarships, but if we have 10 students coming back, we might only have 10 available for that coming year. If a student leaves mid-semester, you know, we can slide somebody in the start of that spring semester. Regarding the application, since we're here, the best time to apply is tomorrow. The sooner that application comes in, we can get an application worked. The sooner we get an acceptance, we can start to look at what that financial package is going to be for each individual student. So it is not too late to apply for the spring 21 semester. It is still plenty early. There's plenty of time to apply for the fall of 21 semester. But again, I think the easiest answer is tonight. We're going to keep applications open for the spring up until the last possible date that we can do that. We would like all the students to be here January 6th. So there will be a cutoff. It's probably going to be after the first of the year. With that, Cadet Reynoso, can you talk a little bit about your experience at NMMI as an international student?
Yes, absolutely. So, as an international student, I met with a lot of other people from my country. There's a lot of people from Mexico that come here, and since I will also like to play sports, that's where I met a lot of them. Um, People from their countries tend to get each o- get along a little bit better from the start, since they have that common background from that same country and uh, nation love that they have. So as an international student, I have been able to meet with a lot of people that are also from Mexico, and I've also had a special place for them in my heart, and try to and ask a lot of them, because I don't want them to feel like I'm treating them better because they're from Mexico, like I am. As a leader, I want to be fair and just with them, and I want them to understand that, and that's, I think, the best way for them to grow, to not see me as just another Mexican friend that they can have, but to see me as a leader that wants them to grow as a student here in NMMI and further on.
And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Christina Stark to talk a little bit about the international application process. I'll let her elaborate a little bit on the diversity in the Corps, how many countries we have represented in the Corps, where some of those countries are. So with that being said, Christina.
Yes, the process for admissions for an international student is very much like the one for the domestic student. The only difference is that we required additional documents. For example, an international student has to submit a passport, the identification page of the passport. We also require an English proficiency test. NMMI is very flexible. We accept many different English proficiency tests and also an international health insurance. So those are very important items that we need that differentiates us from the domestic American students. Another thing that is very important is the fact that you will be able to meet so many people from so many different parts of the world. We do our highest population of international students is from Mexico, but our second large population is from Vietnam. So we have many students from Vietnam. We also have students from Norway, Germany, from Nigeria, from Zambia, from Poland, France, and many other countries. It is a very interesting combination. Students are very welcome here. And once they get to the school, they make a lot of friends. So it's a very interesting place to be and a very exciting experience for all of them.
And Christina, what do we have going on this week? I'm going to let you get a little plug in on all your hard work and everything that we've got going on this week.
Yeah. Well, this week we're celebrating International Education Week. It's a time for us to realize the importance of bringing international students into our schools, because they will share everything about their culture and, of course, expose our students to different cultures, different ways of doing things. I've been involved in many events this week. And one thing that I found very important and very interesting is the fact that many companies um, came and spoke about what they are looking for in their future employers, what they are asking for universities to provide to the students, the skills that they are looking for. So a theme that was presented all the time, we had a company speaking to every one of us. They were talking about the ability of developing leadership skills. They were talking about skills that our students have on their daily life. For example, they were talking about teamwork, being a team member, and also emphasized that being a team member is very different from being a member of a group. Because when you are working in groups, you can just realize who is the best one in writing, for example. So everybody will get all the pieces together and give to the person who writes better. The person will continue and finish the project, and will turn in, and everybody has a great, very good grade. What happens when you are in a team? You all have to put yourself up front. It's a collaboration, and collaboration nowadays is absolutely instrumental for the success of everyone. We have so many collaborations with other countries. In our school, for example, we have programs where we have study abroad programs. Currently, we have two, one to Germany and another one to China. So students from the junior college and the high school can apply and be part of this. And we also have an exchange program. So there are so many opportunities, and this is all related to collaboration.
I think to add on to that, and I'm going to turn this over to Cadet Wolf here in a second, is to talk about the female aspect in the Corps cadets here at NMMI. Typically, on average, we run about 18 to 22% female within the Corps. On average, they hold in excess of 50% of the leadership positions. So Aaron, if you can elaborate a little bit on life in the Corps as a female cadet, your experiences, your takeaways, especially given, the amount of time that you've been here.
This year has actually been a record year for females. We have about 25%, which is a high that we've had for the past few years that I've been here. As far as female leadership, we do, like he said, we do exceed about 50%. You'll see a lot of female officers as well as NCOs on campus, and we work really well together, and we have great mentorship here. A lot of our female alum have come back and worked as TLAs or as instructors, and are great mentors to us, and have special female clubs. And just the past homecoming that we just had was actually recognizing the first female graduating class, and that was a lot of fun because as females we were able to recognize them and have events specifically for the females at NMMI. It's a really unique position to be in.
All right, before we discuss a little bit extra of the extracurricular activities that are offered here at NMMI, I want to rattle through a couple more of these questions. The first one, and again, I'll turn this over to Cadet Reynoso, but it's how has COVID affected, PT here for the cadets? Every cadet has to participate in PT. It is geared towards the individual cadet, but maybe how has some of this COVID, or how has COVID impacted the way PT is done on a daily basis?
Yeah, so there are cadets in charge specifically of PT. These are called Master of Fitness, and they have PT coaches at their disposal, which are mostly also cadets. PT is divided into three, one for each squadron, and they work around the schedule to make sure that the three squadrons are not clashing with each other in different sections of campus. The main difference is that we can't have big clusters of people together doing PT at the same time. So things like stretching, things like running and everything, we have to make sure that people are spread out and spread apart and don't clash into each other that much. In other years, it will be a little bit more compact, so that that camaraderie is still there, and that motivation is there, and people can motivate each other from closer to each other instead of being 6 feet apart all the time. That's the main difference. PT for the most part has stayed almost the same. It's just more awareness for social distancing, and of course we have to have masks on if we're not doing too strenuous of an exercise. It's always with masks on.
This next one we touched on a little bit, but it's how are high school classes affected during COVID? Kind of as we talked about, we do have that hybrid model. So a lot of those classes are in person with the teacher in the classroom. Again, some of that has shuffled just a little bit depending on the class size. It might be split classes, labs and everything else kind of the same. But for the most part, the majority of our classes are in the classroom setting. Another question about laptops, again, personal laptops, sure, but every cadet is issued a laptop when they get here at the start of each year. Junior ROTC. So at the college level, senior ROTC is optional. It's up to the cadets. They have to sign a contract, but it is 100% optional. Junior ROTC for the high school students is mandatory for all cadets. I think it's worth noting. Junior ROTC, the main focus is on leadership. Through some of the other things that we've talked about, I feel like it's easy to take away that we do have that focus on leadership, the holistic approach, learning to follow before you lead, putting every cadet in a situation where they get a chance to lead, see if it's something that they want to do and want to pursue going forward. But junior ROTC is a mandatory aspect for all high school students. Another quick question, does NMMI offer any accommodations for students with learning disabilities? We are listed as a special school, so we do not have to follow any IEP guidelines. I think the caveat with that being said, and I know earlier Cadet Wolf kind of talked about the availability of teachers. Everything that we have built in place is kind of like a giant IEP for all of our students. We've got mandatory study hall Sunday through Thursday night. We've got a math lab, a writing center. Those are set up and ran by our faculty. All of our faculty is here 45 minutes to an hour before the first class period, so students can get in there, ask some questions, get some extra help. And the other thing that's fairly new is what we call the early warning system. And it tracks every individual cadet. And if we start to see grades, some other things slip, we'll just put them in mandatory tutoring. So we are built to handle a lot of different circumstances for students. A lot of students that want to be here, we want to make sure that we provide them with every opportunity we can for them to be successful. With that, I think it's time that we take just a quick peek at extracurriculars. We offer a lot of similar extracurricular activities, band, choir, FBLA, FAA, that most schools do. We also, with the military fill, have color guard, flame guard, but there's a vast majority more than that. So we want to take a quick peek at that, and we'll chat about that some more here in just a second. I think one piece that we didn't have in there, and I know we'll get to a video for it here in a second, is kind of athletics. I know we've got a question about high school athletics that I'll get to in a second, or we can talk about that first. High school athletics, we have the typical setup of high school athletics that you will see at most schools around the country. Basketball, volleyball, football, swimming, diving, soccer. I think the one exception is what we offer for female cadets as opposed to male students. We don't have a women's soccer team at the high school level, but our female cadets can participate on the men's soccer team. It's been done throughout my tenure of being here. We don't have softball at this time. Female cadets can participate in baseball at the high school level if they want to do that. But a wide variety and selection between our high school and junior college. We offer in excess of 23 different athletic programs. So Cadet Reynoso, I know that you mentioned it earlier. You were involved in high school athletics as a high school cadet. Can you talk about that experience a little bit for everyone?
Yes, so I participated in soccer during the fall semester and track and field during the spring semester. So for soccer, in my experience, it was a big group of guys. It was around, if I remember correctly, around 45, 40 people participating. It was a great experience for me. We had matches pretty much every single Tuesday and every single Saturday for about 3 months straight. Um, of course, the coach is very adamant about us keeping good grades and everything. So if you have bad grades and you have bad deportment, you cannot be part of the team. You also have to have the same attitude in that in the extracurricular activities and in the athletics as you do as the rest in the core. So you cannot just be slacking off and thinking that just because you're good at something, you'll get the job or you'll get to play every single game. You also have to be there and try to work hard for that spot, because if not, then people that might not be as talented as you will get those spots. And again, for track and field, we had meets for every single Friday for about 2.5 months during the second half of the semester. It was also very very fun. It was a little bit more separated because track and field is not a team sport. For the most part, it's just all on you, and if you win, it's because you did it. If you lose, it's because you're not good enough. So it's all about that one individual trying to overcome themselves. So it's a little bit more isolated. However, the team still train together. So the sprinters still training alongside each other. Same with the long distance runners, and same with the throwers.
And then Cadet Wolf, I know from earlier discussions, you didn't participate in athletics. I know that you've taken part in various extracurricular activities. Can you just talk about some of the facilities though? I mean, we've got the Godfrey Athletic Center that's like a student rec center. We have Cahoon Armory, it's under renovation right now. Talk to them about maybe Stat Parade Field, the high and low ropes course, the rappel tower. Just your perception as it relates to those facilities that all the cadets have access to.
We have access to quite a few amazing facilities on campus. We have our alumni chapel, which is also utilized as just a study area, quiet room, not necessarily for Bible studies, which is also available. We do have an awesome rappel tower and obstacle course, which we do run through at least once a semester. We do have the high and low ropes course, like Chris said, which is run by an amazing team. And we have a leadership reaction course that's alongside that, similar to what you'll find on a military base. We also have the Godfrey Athletic Center, which has basketball courts, racquetball rooms, tennis courts, an upstairs gym, and an Olympic-sized pool. We have an amazing library with all sorts of tools, academic advisors in there, a career center, and then we have our mail room, which also is attached to a bowling alley, our barber, and Starbucks, and our PX, which is our dining facility, well, our on-campus diner, essentially.
Okay, and with that, we're going to take a quick peek at an athletic video that will highlight some of those facilities, and again, that all cadets have access to. We don't cut any cadets that want to go out for a high school sport. If they want to try football and they've never played football in their life, we encourage them to do so. Same thing with basketball, volleyball, everything that we offer. But this video is going to highlight some of those facilities so you can get a little in-depth look at them. Okay, again, please keep submitting questions. We've got a bunch of great questions coming in. We're going to take a second again and try to get through some of those as best we can. We'll lean on the cadets we have. You know, again, they live, breathe, eat, sleep, all of this stuff every day. This first one talks about religion, how it's handled. We are fortunate that we have a chapel on post. It was paid for completely by alumni donations. They offer a Protestant and a Catholic service on Sunday. Religion is encouraged, but it is not mandatory. A lot of the local churches here in town, in a normal year, COVID has impacted that a little bit, will come and pick up cadets. They'll use a van, they'll take them to service. You know, the LDS students, if there's a Catholic church here in town, a non-denominational church, wherever it is, they will pick cadets up, take them to service, and then bring them back. I think one of the effects, and I did touch on this, because of COVID, we have created a bubble. So the cadets are not allowed to leave campus right now. So that's been strained a little bit just because of everything that is going on globally. But in a typical year, yes, highly encouraged. We're very supportive. You know, we do have a strict structure in place Sunday to Sunday. So, you know, we can maneuver with some things, sometimes not everything, but again, very encouraged for all of our cadets. This one, are there any medical programs that we offer? So 9 through 12 high school, and then we've got the 2-year junior college piece where you can get an associate's in liberal arts or an associate's in science. Again, talking to Cadet Wolf last night, I believe, we were asking about her future plans, and she's actually pursuing a degree in chemistry and looking forward to potentially parlaying that into a forensic, a focus on forensics. We have a lot of students that are interested in nursing, so we can do some pre-nursing coursework. I know Cadet Reynoso talked about how he's doing with his degree plan right now. His emphasis is in pre-engineering. So I'll let Cadet Wolf talk a little bit about that focus she has in chemistry and how that is going to relate to a medical field like forensics.
As far as the medical field goes here, you actually would take a pre-nursing program, which is really heavy in sciences. And the academic advisors here in the science building, as well as other academic advisors, are well aware of those courses and what courses need to be taken. We have allied health chemistry, anatomy, and other courses similar to that. There's some that are more heavy on the athletic side of nursing, like an athletic trainer. Things like that. Mine is more chemistry and just chemicals. So I'm doing physical sciences and lab sciences heavy here and pursuing more deep into chemistry when I move on to my next school.
Okay, and this one for Christina. Does NMMI accept students from the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica? There you are. We've got her back.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. We do accept students from Jamaica, from any part of the world, yes. And I would highly recommend that you submit your application tonight. So we will have enough time to work with you, gather all the documentation needed, and provide you with the documents that you would need to schedule a visa interview.
You know, and right back at you, Christina, this one's 2 parts. Do we have any cadets from Southeast Asia, Thailand, and Cambodia, number 1? And number 2, do we serve rice and similar foods during meals?
We do have a student from Thailand here on our campus. And we have different opportunities for different meals, and we do make some accommodations.
Okay, this one talks about Cyber Patriot being offered as a course. I know that cybersecurity is becoming a huge study of interest. To my knowledge, we don't have anything in place as of yet. We have had some students that went to NMMI, went to UNM and finished a degree, and then were able to get into cybersecurity, but I don't believe that we have anything that is that focused and a degree path specifically for that yet. Cadet Reynoso or Cadet Wolf, can you guys elaborate on that if you know that something is in place with regards to cybersecurity?
I do not know of anything that is in place specifically about cybersecurity, but we do offer a lot of programming and computer concepts and computer courses here at NMMI. But more specifically into cybersecurity, I am not aware of anything.
Okay. Visiting campus. Right now, we would love to have you on post. We'd love to have you come take a peek at everything. December 1, we will be open to visitors coming back to campus. I talked about it briefly before. We've kind of created a bubble. The current cadets are our focus, their safety, their health, their well-being. They will take finals the end of this week, next week. They graduate Wednesday next week, and then they're going to be out of here once we get through Thanksgiving and the little holiday break. We will open campus to visitors. The downside is we won't get to see cadets interacting in daily life. I think the bonus for anybody who comes to visit is that we'll have access to get into more buildings and be around places that maybe we wouldn't be able to do when the cadets were here, just because we were trying to limit outside traffic and exposure to those cadets. So if you go online and you click on selecting a campus tour, there's not going to be an option for you to schedule anything until December 1st. Drill teams or competitive teams in junior ROTC. Cadet Wolf, Cadet Reynoso, did either of you participate in either of those when you were a high school cadet?
I did heavily.
Do you want to talk about that experience and everything that you guys were able to do?
So I participated in the JROTC color guard and air rifle team. Traveling with the color guard and the air rifle team, I traveled a lot with our drill team, the GOS team. As color guard, we compete throughout the year. COVID has definitely changed that this year, but I was one of the commanders, and we tried to travel as much as we could my senior year. And our JROTC department here is really, really friendly with us, and they work well to make sure that we're able to compete. And during the normal year, we actually do host a JROTC competition on campus for whoever wants to attend, whatever other schools. And our teams here practice during activity time, Tuesdays, Thursdays, or sometimes every day throughout the week, so that they're prepared, or just for an exhibition during homecoming like GOS does.
And Cadet Wolf, what about Flame Guard? Can you talk a little bit about Flame Guard?
So Flame Guard is a group that is highly honored in our school. For those of you who know the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, we have a mat similar to that where cadets on Flame Guard walk end to end to protect our flame. The flame symbolizes the alumni and everything that they've done for us and passed on for us as cadets. And they have a special uniform, and they have their custom traditions and special drill rifles. And they're just highly honored on our campus, and they are very disciplined and typically held a lot of leadership positions in our corps because of it.
I'm gonna answer this one first, and then I'm gonna let Colonel Stark chime in as well with her experience with the international students. She does a great job tracking them as potential cadets during their time here as cadets, and once they graduate and move on from NMMI. But do most high school graduates receive scholarships at four-year universities? I think I can say with great certainty that our high school graduates are accepted to the university of their choice 9, if not 10 times out of 10. We get them ready to move on and be successful in whatever endeavor, whether it's academic or career endeavor they choose. With scholarships, I think they're very successful at receiving scholarships. It's hard for us to track a specific dollar amount per cadet unless we know them and have stayed in touch with them over time. My experience with those cadets that I've seen through the last 10 years is yes, they get great scholarship opportunities. They are very successful wherever they go. You know, Lieutenant Colonel Stark, what's your pulse on that from the international side and perspective?
I agree with you. And I think for the international population that we bring to NMMI, they are very focused. And due to the structure that NMMI offers, they usually have very good grades. They have an academic advisor that will follow them through their time here as a student. And for example, right now we have a student from Vietnam who has shared with us that she's here as a freshman, but she wants to go to law school and she wants to go to Yale. I'm absolutely sure that she will do that. She has an academic advisor that is guiding her and properly preparing her to be able to be accepted at Yale. As I said, due to the fact that we have a very structured environment and our students are very focused and have a lot of academic support, they are very successful, have very good grades and very good GPAs. So other universities come to our campus to recruit our students, and our international students are very sought after.
Cadet Reynoso, I'm going to throw this one over to you, but can you talk about what cadets get to do during their free time right now? You know, with some of the restrictions and everything we've got in place and have to have in place, but talk about free time as it relates to cadet life right now.
Yeah, so we have many facilities that are pretty much open for everybody. So for example, the gym is not open for the public, which it normally is. However, during this time, it's open for cadets that they can use the gym as long as they have their masks on. They can use the racquetball courts, or they can play something like basketball. The only difference is that they can't use the pool. We also have the Starbucks, as it was mentioned before, and that Starbucks is just, you know, to get coffee, maybe relax a little bit. And we also have the PX, which is
Our apologies for that. I think we had a little technical difficulty there, but we're all back on now. This one again, I think I'll jump in on this at first, and then I'll ask Lieutenant Colonel Stark to slide in. But it's what universities or career opportunities are available for NMMI JC graduates. I would say my experience, I spent a couple of years working with alumni specifically. Beyond that, for all of our junior college graduates. Lieutenant Colonel Stark, your pulse on that?
Many of our students stay here for higher education, and then they go back home and become very successful in any area, any field that they would like to.
This question revolves around high school sports, and it's what teams are in our district. It kind of depends. Every year, our student population changes a little bit. I think it's 2 years. New Mexico Activities Association will do district realignment, and it's based on your student population. So some years we'll be playing against Portales and Ruidoso, and it depends on the sport as well. Other years it might be Hagerman, you know, Goddard, Roswell, Artesia, Carlsbad. Those schools are all big enough. We don't ever have to play them. But as far as the other schools that are in our district, it fluctuates a little bit year in and year out. Can you do junior college and high school courses at the same time? I think this year we're tracking, and we're going to have actually 8 cadets that graduate from the high school and junior college simultaneously on the same day. The first group of cadets that did that, it was back in 2013. It seems like every year we've had 1 or 2, or every other year we've had 1 or 2 that were able to do that. But you absolutely can take high school and junior college courses at the same time. I know that Cadet Wolf alluded to that earlier, as did Reynoso. And because of that, the next question that came in, do we offer AP honors or dual credit courses? We don't. If you're a cadet that's here and you're really excelling in math, we're going to challenge you. You're not paying good money to be here and not get a top-notch education. So if we need to challenge you and move you up to college algebra, we're going to do that. The nice thing about that is there's no test at the back end like you see with AP and honors courses. It also isn't an extra cost to the parent or the cadet. You might have 5 or 6 high school courses and 2 college courses, and it's no added cost if you're going to take that college level course. Christina, anything that you want to add to that based on your experience with the international students as well?
The opportunities to excel academically here at NMMI are endless, and our students do take advantage of that. We have different programs, and they are very committed to excelling. And as I said, they are very focused, have very good grades, and are usually very organized in a way that they really know what they want to do, and they do their very best. So other universities come here and are very interested in taking them, recruiting them, and offering great scholarships.
I think we've got one more question that came in. Again, thank you all for peppering us with so many fantastic questions. I hope we got them all answered. I don't believe we forgot to get to any one question that came in. One more question that came in, and then I'm going to ask a final question of Cadet Reynoso and Cadet Wolf as well, just to kind of end some parting thoughts. But before we get to that, and Cadet Wolf, you actually get 2 questions because I'm going to turn this one over to you. But what is dorm life or barracks life like here at NMMI?
As far as our barracks go, majority of our rooms, we have 2 cadets per room. Right now, because of COVID, it's a little bit different, but nonetheless, we still have about that. Our barracks are also organized in 3 stories, so 3 levels. On the first level, we typically have our junior college males, and then our second level is our high school males, and third level, depending on what troop area, will be all of the females. Some male troops that are all male will have just another mixture of males on that level. So we do have it separated by gender, and each level will have their own bathroom and showers. Typically about 3 showers and 3 toilets per bathroom. So it's not necessarily restricted. And it's only about 12 to 15 cadets sharing 1 restroom. As far as like security, we do have at least 1 adult roaming the area at all times to make sure that cadets are safe from the outside and cadets are safe from each other.
With that, Cadet Reynoso, in your words, how has NMMI prepared you going forward after this year since you're going to graduate?
Oof, that's a big one. So I think NMMI has prepared me to be more open, like I said before, to be more open to possibilities and welcome other people and welcome new experiences. This has been and to have that same mindset that I've learned here at NMMI, which is, to always live with honor and live with duty, and try to become a better person every day. And with that attitude, welcome new experiences and welcome new people and welcome new challenges, so that I can still get to grow the way that NMMI has taught me to grow, and use that same mentality outside and keep growing as a better person, as a better citizen.
And then Cadet Wolf, a little tough one for you here, but what would you say to an applicant, whether it's a potential cadet or a parent that is thinking about applying to NMMI?
Do it. Just stick to it. Even if it's not something you're fully sure of, you can always leave, but always take on the challenge first, because it opens so many doors in life and leadership experiences and the people that you meet. It's a great opportunity in academics, if that's your thing, in sports, if that's what you like to do. ask questions, connect with people who are from here, whether that be faculty or cadets, but definitely do it. Just take your foot into the door and take on the challenge, because it's a really, really good thing, and NMMI really sets all of their cadets up for success.
You know, with that being said, we want to thank you all for being logged on tonight. Again, I hope you enjoyed the information that was provided. We're going to try to do this again here in the near future, and continue the process going forward. If you have questions, please reach out, contact us, whether it's international affairs or the domestic side of admissions. If you go to www.nmmi.edu and click on the admissions tab, it's going to have contact information for myself, for Lieutenant Colonel Stark, all of the staff that works in both areas. You can also check us out on social media. We've got a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we're going to be out there. And for anybody that caught just a piece of this recording tonight, it is going to be recorded. It will be posted to the YouTube channel. So you can go back, you can watch certain clips, you can watch the whole thing in its entirety, but it will be able to be viewed again. And please, please don't hesitate to reach out. Let us know what you're thinking. There are no silly questions. We're here to provide the best experience through that application and admissions process that we can for you. And from all of us, you know, again, thank you for logging in tonight. Hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to hearing from all of you here in the near future.